how did you approach that process? What was your kind of framework, when you started looking for EB5 projects in general, rural, non-rural, in a particular state, not in a particular state? What did you kind of, lay out when you started your research?
Yeah, and then there are not that many options, to be honest. I think there are about 5, 6, 7 regional centers out there. Some are already out of business within the last year. I looked at about 4, 5, 6 different regional centers. And the main decision why I went with Saltair was, of course, the builder, which I think is the most important part, because if the builder defaults, everything could be gone. So with Kolter being in business since 1997, I think. Is this correct, Sam?
Yes, 97.
I had a lot of old projects from them, not only EB5 project, but also regular real estate project. And I think Kolter is one of the most reliable currently. Another thing why we decided to go with Saltair is we are located in Tampa, Florida. Saltair is in St. Petersburg, Florida, which is just 30, 40 minutes drive. And I saw Saltair already before I ever met Sam, before I knew that it was an EB5 project, because we are doing a lot of trips to St. Petersburg. St. Petersburg, it's a beautiful city. And I came across Saltair, and then I found out it is an regional center too. Another very important thing is that Saltair, at the time we invested, already had 100% of all the apartments sold. Every one of the buyer had already put down a 30% non-refundable deposit, and all jobs have been created already at this time. So I think the first closings are planned to happen in fall this year. So this project is already very, very advanced. So it was a great project for us because there are risks, but I think the risks are pretty low.
In terms of kind of other projects that you considered and the Saltair project, were the other projects also loan projects or equity projects as well? And what aspects kind of made this project a little bit more appealing than some of the other ones that you looked at?
Yeah, I looked at several ones which were also equity. All of them I looked were all real estates, to be honest. I found some like a ferry wheel in New York or a restaurant somewhere in Georgia. So I stayed away from everything which was not real estate. Yeah, and there were several projects, one in Maryland, Saltair, Georgia one, and all of them were similar, but of course the details were different. And there was none besides the Saltair which was already that advanced, which had already created, improved the jobs, which had already sold 100% of the apartments, and especially the 30% non-refundable deposit of the buyers, I think is a great thing which lowers the risk enormously.
Obviously, researching the project and getting familiar with the differences between projects is really important, but when you're selecting an EB5 investment, part of that decision is you're entering into a long-term relationship with the EB5 regional center sponsoring the project. So on that side of your research, what were some of the differences between EB5AN and some of the other regional center teams that that stood out for you, or that were important in your decision to do the Saltair project?
Absolutely. Yeah, so I think the most important part about a regional center is, do you think the regional center can create a job? Does it? Once you file the 829, does it qualify you for the restrictions to be waived? So you need the jobs. And of course, on the other hand side, do you trust the regional center it will be able to repay your investment? I think these are the most important things you should look at. And Saltair, it had already created the jobs. The buyers had already put down 30% non-refundable deposit, and 100% of the apartments were sold. So I think Saltair is a great project which very low risk,